I want to hear about some of the biggest projects you're working on that, some of the biggest trends you're seeing. Like, what are the big, hairy projects that you all are involved with right now?
Overall, I'd say SoftServe's sweet spot has really been about building digital experiences and helping organizations that either have a lot of legacy technology in the enterprise or firms that have actually been built as digital natives. They may have started up in the last 5 to 10 years where cloud computing is the way that they built their company and has become the backbone of how they engage firms. SoftServe has really been a part of enabling the transition for large enterprise firms that are maybe adopting those best practices and trying to take what has maybe been a manual process and digitizing it, or more pervasively, let's say if you look at areas like healthcare, to kind of go back to a place that I've spent a lot of my personal time, as a part of the pandemic, if you think about how organizations and individuals received care, paid their bills to either the hospital or their medical payer, and even to the way that we engage as a patient and a doctor in that relationship, COVID has really changed the way that a lot of both hospital providers to ecosystem partners like the life science companies that either make medical devices or provide biologic compounds as a pharma company are rethinking kind of the way they engage patients overall. And we've been in a place where we've been working with several of those firms to really reimagine the way that healthcare is delivered. Because if you think about the traditional way of, hey, I had an accident, I either go to the doctor to get something fixed, or I'm managing a chronic condition like renal disease or kidney disease, where I have to go into a facility every month or every few weeks to get hemodialysis or peridialysis, if that's your care intervention for that particular disease condition. We're working with those organizations to take a couple of different things. One is create a digitization layer around that experience so that you can directly connect with your doctor. And if you think about the traditional method of even telehealth, pre-COVID to where it is now, some of the visit numbers in Q3 of 2020, kind of the height of the second wave of the pandemic, the CDC reported that roughly about 30 to 40% of doctor visits were digital. If you look at those same numbers before the pandemic, it was less than 5-10% overall. And it's really changed the paradigm of how we as individuals want to engage with our doctors. If we have a sniffle, we can call somebody on Teladoc or a similar type of platform, engage with a doctor to get a medication, which enables me to move forward. But they're also looking at how that type of care paradigm is happening for chronic conditions as well. Because maybe if I'm stage 1 or 2 renal disease, which doesn't require that kind of very costly intervention like hemodialysis or peridialysis, I can meet with a nurse practitioner in a virtual environment. That person can actually increase their caseload by using digital assistive technology as a way to see the patients they need to see in person, but also coordinate that care so that they can get to the right care provider in the right time. Because especially with what COVID has done to the healthcare system, it's really stretched our ability to give and receive care just because of how much was going through the system at that time. And another thing that we're also seeing is, for lack of a better term, the application of AI and machine learning into early stages of how we can get better at disease prevention. We've actually built an application that, if you think about that telehealth example, if I'm a doctor and I'm talking like we're talking on the screen here today, I really have no ability to run the typical diagnostic battery of tests like, hey, what's my blood pressure? What's the temperature that I have? The stuff that we would all do when we walk into the doctor's office. So we've actually built a machine learning model that uses information on the camera, and we're actually looking at biomarkers on the face to determine oxygenation rate, the breathing rate of an individual. And if you think about that in the context of like COVID as an example, maybe that's something that gives the doctor enough information to say, hey, this patient really needs to go to the emergency room, or maybe he can rest in place because he's only experiencing kind of mild symptoms to be able to manage through what's going on with the disease. And we're looking at the application of technology like that. And SoftServe has been building some of that technology in-house, but also working, frankly, mostly with our clients and the solution providers that we partner with to build that kind of ecosystem to really transform the way that we deliver healthcare. And I think if you look 5 to 10 years out, I think it's going to be a very different world when we get to 2030 to the way we started 2020 in this decade in terms of how we deliver care. Because really, honestly, healthcare has advanced significantly in terms of our outcomes, but it hasn't really materially changed in about 100 years. I think digital assistive technology, things like AI, is really going to transform over the next 5 to 10 years, what I consider really an emerging market because of how much transformation is out there and the ability for those technologies to ultimately improve patient outcomes, save lives, and ultimately improve the way care is delivered and received for everyone in the system.
Hey, thanks for watching. This segment was made possible by our friends at Salesforce Commerce Cloud. If you're looking for the #1 platform for all your commerce needs, go check out salesforce.com/commerce. And don't forget to subscribe below and tap that little bell icon so you can stay on top of all the amazing new segments and full episodes that we'll be putting out over the coming year with some of the best and most influential commerce leaders out there.